Good morning, all. How are we? It is Tuesday, the 16th of Tuesday, the 16th of December. We are officially 50% of the way, past 50% of the way through December. We're clinging on for dear life still. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm not saying it's the easiest at the moment, and I'm not saying there isn't temptation around every corner. There is, but we're doing okay. We're still at it. We're still giving it the best we can give it. And to be honest with you, I've got no reason not to. It is still a work week. Routine is still in place. It's just, you know the score. You know the score. Anyway, are we all good this morning? Are we all happy, healthy, well, smiling? Hopefully. We should be smiling. Is everyone kind of, we get to this sort of stage in December, and it is a wind down. It is, and I've done my very best over the last 5-6 weeks to keep myself going as well as my clients going. But it's Christmas Eve a week today, and I've got stuff all over me out. And we are getting to that point. But honestly, if you can just hang on a few more days, just keep it going the best you can. I guarantee you will enjoy Christmas just that little bit more. You really, really will. You will enjoy Christmas just that little bit more. What am I up to this week? Well, I've got into limp mode this week. I've kind of like my out of office is semi on, if I'm being honest with you. I am doing some work. I'm having a plan writing day today. I've got 8 people starting on Monday, so I'm just going to get stuck in. To be fair, I've been in here since 6:30 this morning. Sent out a load of progress sheets this morning. I have written 3 plans already, so I've got 5 to go. So I'm on a bit of a. Once I've done those this week, I'm kind of out in a way. We've still got final check-ins of 2025 to go on Friday for. Actually, it is manic check-in day. Friday is my busier check-in day. Whether everyone checks in or not, I have no idea. You can check in Thursday as well if you want to this week. I might put that in a message tomorrow. I'm easy. I have had a couple of people message me already saying they're going to send a post Christmas. They're not going to check in on Friday. They want to send a post Christmas wait on Tuesday. They're not bothered about a check in, and they'll be back in the new year. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right with that. It just is what it is. It's a bit weird, not weird this year, the way Christmas it felt like the last Friday falls quite early. Does that make let's say, I do check-ins all the way up to Christmas, really. So let's say Christmas Eve was a Monday, right? Then the last check-ins would be, I suppose it's not a million miles away, is it? So it's the 19th. If Christmas Eve was a Monday, then the final check-ins would be 24th, 23rd, would be like the 21st. And just those extra couple of days just keeps you in it. But saying that, if Christmas Eve was a Monday, right? Then New Year's Day would be a Thursday. And I always think that makes it a little bit trickier for starting. Next year is actually, for me, like a perfect, the way Christmas falls next year. Because I think Christmas falls on on the Friday. So for restarting, so New Year's Day is the Friday. It's nice having a couple of days after New Year's Day, and then bang, you're back on it, like on the 4th. And it's not bad this year. It's just that, I think last check-in day is possibly a little bit early. But saying that, I do prefer pre-Christmas to Christmas. Does anyone else prefer pre-Christmas to Christmas? I don't know. I'm just waffling on now, aren't I? Anyway, let's do top 5 this morning. Jane's in at number 1. Mr. John Jackson's in at number 2. Sheila's in at number 3. Kelly sees How 38 is in at number 5. Good morning, everybody. As always, top 5. Thank you very much. You've jumped straight on this line. You've come and said hello. I always appreciate that. Who else is in this morning? Mummy Bear's in. Good morning. Maureen's in. Good morning. Alison, good morning. Reset consultation. Yes, I've got it, mate. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm in a bit of a plan writing mode. Tomorrow dinner time is cut off. If you want to start on plan with me, the 5th of January, but 8 people started. I think I'll take 2 more. If no one else wants to sign up, I'm buzzing that 8 people have signed up. That's great. Thank you very much. I think I'll take 2 more. So 2 more for the 5th. That'd be a nice even 10. So if you want to get going, someone did message me yesterday actually saying they wanted to sign up, and I didn't send them the link till about 9 o'clock last night. So I think they're going to sign up today. So maybe there's 1 more. If you missed the 5th start date, the next start date will be the 12th. And if you missed that, it'll be the 9th. Don't worry, you don't have to wait like into March or something to get going with me. I know some coaches do start dates every 8 weeks or something like that. Maybe I should do that, but because then you end up with like 30 people starting. So, if I miss that, I won't start so much. I don't do that. I just start people as and when I can. Paula, good morning. But yes, if you'd like to get going, 5th of Jan, Christmas is done, New Year's done, from the off, first Monday of Jan, let's get on it with my plan, working with me. TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page. It's half price at the moment. Sign up, just 15 quid. New year, new me is your code. All right, 15 quid to sign up. You need to pay nothing else until the 5th of Jan. All right, and then it's a subscription. All right, so it's $29.99 for a minimum 3 months. So if you sign up now, it's 15 quid. You'll then pay $29.99, 5th of Jan, 5th of March, 5th of Jan, 5th of Feb, 5th of March. And if you sign up now using code New Year, New Me, and you complete your 6 check-ins for the new year, which covers your minimum term on plan, I'll give you month 4 for nothing. All right, or April, you won't pay a penny, and you can still work with me. So come get signed up. Yeah, my consultation form, I've added to my fitness. I currently do start the gym as well as the running and Tabata, which is not a problem at all. And it's add it in. I don't put a lot of emphasis on exercise when it comes to calories calculated anyway. The most emphasis I put on is obviously our weight, height, age. Weight's the biggest factor for overall calorie burn, because that's the biggest factor that determines our metabolism. But our metabolism is also governed a little bit by our sex, our height, and our age. So obviously I take all that into account. The next thing I then look at is steps. So steps is our second biggest calorie burn. We should burn more calories doing steps. I do get clients that come on board, they go to the gym 4 times a week, but they only do 3,000 steps a day. And I'm like, we need to change that. All right, we need to change that because, why do I put so much emphasis on steps? Because there's something that should never change all year round. Never. Right. So, and I'm not saying, some people are like, no, my gym never changes all year round. Yeah, but that's few and far between. Mine does. I have to, if I go on holiday, I don't go to the gym. I always get my steps in. Right. And it's not the fact that I purposely, like when I'm on holiday, I'm clock watching and like, I need to get my steps in, I just do loads of movement. I just like moving about. I just like walking. Right. Same at Christmas. I'll go to the gym probably from the 20. I'm going on the 23rd because I'm teaching spin. That's my last spin class. And then I'm back teaching spin on the 3rd of Jan. So I'm taking Christmas off. So I'm going to be officially like if we class Christmas 24th to the 2nd, how many times would I normally go to the gym in that time period? Probably 10, 8, 9, 10, something like that. I might go 3 times. My steps, though, we'll be going to the beach. We'll be taking the dogs out still. So steps should never leave us, right? So I put emphasis on steps, everyday movement. And, you might finish work a bit late, but you could have already got your steps in by the time you finish work. You go to the gym every day after work or 3 times a week after work, and for whatever reason you finish work a bit late, you should have got your steps in already. Should be done and dusted, or could be done and dusted. So, or, you might not have time to go to the gym because you've got to drive there, get changed, go and train. Because the gym's not just, for most people, isn't just an hour I train in the gym 45 minutes. And for me, the gym, like I go to the gym dressed to go to the gym. I wear gym gear 24/7 pretty much. It's 15-minute drive from my house to the gym. I go in and train 45 minutes, and then it's 15 minutes drive home. I don't have a shower afterwards. You might go, oh, you dirty, smelly son. No, I work from home. I have a shower when I get home. So the gym for me, but for a lot of people, and this used to be me, when I used to work like in an office, I used to work near the gym. You go to the gym, right? I'd have to go and get changed. Then I'd go up to the gym and train. Then I'd come down, have a shower, get back to, and it adds a bit of extra time. You have that with commuting. It can take up to a couple of hours to go to the gym. So whereas, you know, you might be like, I've not got 2 hours to go to the gym, but I'll just drive straight home from work, get me trainers on, and I can go for an half-hour walk. It's a much more time-efficient way of getting, of moving more, you know? So it's, you know, steps should never really change. They never should. And what taught me that massively was COVID. COVID taught me that massively because I used to put so much emphasis on exercise, and then suddenly COVID hit, gym shut, and it was kind of whipped away from us. Now, don't get me wrong, I still trained a lot in COVID. I was very lucky that I managed to get a bit of gym equipment. But if I hadn't had that gym equipment, all I would have was that, right? And that really cemented to me like how important steps were, you know. And it's just you know, again, it's just one of those subconscious habits. It's just one of those subconscious habits that we should have built into our life, you know. Jackie, good morning. Chris, good morning. You should have your right sheet, mate, hopefully. I'm going to check in, even though I'm wanting to not check in. I think it's important to face the scales regardless of how I've done. Yeah, at the end of the day, look, your weight's your weight, right? It just is what it is. And if we've just gone off track a bit this week, it's fully understand. And I get it. I totally get it, you know. But, you know, to log that pre-Christmas weight, it's just good data. However well you've done, it's just good data. And it's good data for years to come. Like I've just done I've done a yearly weight loss vlog. It'll be out today. So I've kind of touched on last week very, very briefly, but I've kind of had a look at I put my progress sheet up and I've gone through it, and I've gone through this year really as a vlog this week. And it's just invaluable data. And it's just things like, so, you know, I'm not saying I was the best running up to Christmas last year, but I jumped on the scales and I've got that weight logged. I then weighed after Christmas and I've got that weight logged, and I can see, you know, what my post-Christmas gain was. I can see, you know, how well I did, you know, because I've got my progress sheet from 2023. I've got my progress sheet from 24. I've got my progress sheet from 25. Actually, I only started doing my progress sheet properly from 2024. You know, and I've talked about that in this year's like yearly weight loss vlog. So it's just, and that's all it is, right? We have to accept that it is just sort of data. Now, last year I was in 2024 from the start of the year, right, up until in 2024, I lost 18.6 pounds in 2024. The most I ever got down to was minus 22 pounds. And that was by the beginning of April 2024. After that, I was just really up and down, very, very erratic. And, you know, and I regressed because really, in a way, because the lowest I was the beginning of April, and I was 22 pounds down, right? And then when I weighed myself before Christmas, I was 18.6 pounds down. So I actually, from beginning of April up until Christmas, I gained 4 pounds, right? And if I look at my chart from that time period, I was just absolutely erratic all over the place. In fact, I should have done that on the weekly weight loss vlog. I should have compared my chart. I might do that in the new year and put my chart from 2024 and then my chart from 2025 and to see the difference, because this year has been a totally different kettle of fish. So the lowest I have been is now. I am the lowest I've been. So at the beginning of April this year, I was 29.2 pounds down. So I'm 7 pounds down more than I was in 2024. But going into Christmas, currently, I don't know, I've got away on Friday, so I don't know what the scale's going to say. But currently, up to my last time I got on the scales, which was at the end of November, from the beginning of April to now, I'm 11 pounds down. Now, that isn't a lot of weight loss over that time net. From the beginning of April, I've had 4 holidays, and those 4 holidays, obviously, I've gained weight, gained fat, lost that, and an additional 11 pounds on top. And that's been the big difference of 2025 compared to 2024. 22 pounds beginning of April after the golden hours or the golden weeks, Jan, Feb, March, best time to lose weight for me personally, right? Quiet, chill, not too, it's kind of weight loss can be a culture, not a cultural thing. Like it can be led by maybe social habits, we could say that, or society habits. Like I always say this, there are better and worse times to lose weight throughout the year. And that's quite relevant to the individual. So what I mean by that is when I say there's better and worse times to lose weight, like what might be a better time for me, right, might be a worse time for someone else. What might be a tough time for me might be an easier time for someone else. So it's all quite subjective. But I also think there are certain times of the year where weight loss, for the majority of people, should just be, it should be a golden period for most people. Because, let's take January. In January, you might have 2 kids' birthdays and your birthday. And that's always been a celebrate. And it should be. But still, even if my birthday was in January, I'd still do dry Jan, right? I'd still be a lot more mindful about what I'm doing because that's just the way it is. Unless it was a 40th or a 50th, I'd still be a lot more mindful. So, I just think Jan, Feb, March is just a great time for the majority of people. I'm not saying for everybody. I'm not tarnishing everyone with the same brush, but for the majority of people. Likewise, this time of year, December, is a tougher time of year for most people. So we can look at that. We can look at different periods. So for me there, 2024, I've lost 22 pounds in the first 3 months of the year. 2025, I've lost 29 pounds. It's 7 pounds is 7 pounds. Don't get me wrong. That means I've been in a 17 and a half, 7 times 3. I've been in like a 25,000 calorie deficit more in 2025. So I've been on it more, but it's still decent weight loss over those periods of time. The difference for me is in 2024, I just went completely AWOL. In 2025, I didn't. And I'm going to try and continue that trend in 2026. But the data is there. That's what I'm trying to get at. The data is so important, Right, let me scan up and see if I've missed anything. Easter to summer is a good time for me because the weather improves, moods lifted, more motivated. Exactly. So that whereas and to be honest with you, Easter to summer to me is pretty decent. Right, it is, and again, I'm with Paula there. Like the weather improves, moods lifted, more motivated. It does improve us. Now, I'm always quite like January, February, March. I'm always like a bit of a Debbie Downer. I am. I don't like it. The only thing that drives me through is the fact that it is that golden period for weight loss. Like it's and it's one of them for me. If everything goes right in 2026 the way I want it to, 2027 will be a maintenance year. I won't need to lose weight. Now, I'll always need to lose weight in January. Always. For the rest of my life. Why? Because Christmas. I'm always going to fully enjoy Christmas. I'm always going to gain some body fat at Christmas. Normally 5 to 6 pounds. And so January's always going to be weight loss. But I'm like, once my Christmas, like this year, once my Christmas weight's gone, I'm going to kick in and lose more and go more into like what I currently weigh. Whereas next year, I'm not planning on. How often should I weigh myself? That's Brendan on YouTube. I recommend, look, lots of different people have lots of different viewpoints on this. It's all down to your relationship with the scales. Most people I work with have a really unhealthy relationship with the scales. They're obsessed with the scales. It dictates their mood. It dictates their life in a way. They judge the success of their journey solely on what the scales are doing. A lot of people see the scales as if they go up, I'm fatter. If they go down, I'm thinner. It doesn't work like that, right? It's like weighing yourself clothed. If you weigh yourself clothed and you weigh more, do you say you're fatter? No, it's because I've got clothes on. Yeah, well, what we have to appreciate is things go on internally inside the body that increases our weight or decreases our weight that isn't fat. You know, your body's 60% water, right? So why and the scales weigh your weight, they don't weigh your fat, right? They weigh your weight. But a lot of people massively struggle to differentiate, you know, to see the difference between, you know, it's a weight, it's not fat. You're weighing your bones, you're weighing your skin, you're weighing food that might currently be in your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, waste products that's in your bowel, you're weighing water that's in your bladder, right? You're weighing water retained in your muscles, you're weighing all these things, and there's lots of things in the body that fluctuate, right? And they can fluctuate over long, you know, I would say fluctuations are quite a short period of time. They are and they're not, you know, if you've had a period of not eating the healthiest, but you've been mainly in a calorie maintenance, right? Your weight is going to slowly creep because you're just going to be storing more water. And over 3-4 weeks, you could gain 4, 5, 6 pounds. Doesn't mean it's body fat. Doesn't mean it's body fat. But in our mindset, I'm fatter, I'm 6 pounds heavier in weight, not in fat. How can we answer those tracking consistently? It tells you the stuff, it gives you the answers you need, right? It gives you the answers you need. And if you're constantly beating yourself up because you might have gained twice in a row, look at your calories. It's dead simple. I could get on the scales on Friday. I could be 2 pounds heavier than the last time I weighed at the end of November, but I've got data. The data is consistent tracking. It's going through my app. It's going, yeah, I was 1,800 calories over my ideal deficit last week. I was in a calorie deficit of 4,000 calories last week. I was in a calorie deficit the week before of 5,500. I was in a calorie deficit the week before of 2,000. That means since the end of November, I should have lost 3 to 4 pounds of body fat. If the scales are showing a 2 pound gain, it's because I'm holding 6 pounds of water, food, which is easy when you're my size, right? And I'm not going to beat myself. It just is what it is because I've got the data to answer the questions that might be going on in my head, right? And that's why it's really important. But if you are emotionally attached to the scales, if the scales mess with your mindset, and this is all down to being consistent. Look, if you're going to be really inconsistent with things, weigh whatever the hell you want because it's not going to make a difference. Consistency is always going to be key. But if you are on it, right, you're on your journey, you're tracking your calories, you're getting your steps in, you know, majority of your diet's healthy, nutritious, you know, minority of your diet is more less nutritious food. You're getting hydrated, you're eating your protein, eating your fat, you know, putting all the tools into place and sticking to those calories consistently. If you weigh every couple of weeks, you are going to get way more losses than you are gains and maintains. Again, weekly weight loss vlog. It'll be out today. Have a look at it. It might give you a little bit of a buzz for 2026. It might give you some ideas for 2026. But I've weighed slightly more than this. I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm perfect. I only get the scales myself every 2 weeks. I don't. I'm like everyone else. Well, I'm having a bit of a fat day. I'll pull the scales out of my, and that doesn't get logged on my progress sheet. I have 25 logs on my progress sheet of 2025. 20 losses, 1 maintain, 4 gains. That's weighing every couple of weeks, logging that weight, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I've probably jumped on maybe another 10 times in between that, just little glances here and there, like we all do. And I would say it's probably those little glances, it might have been 50-50 between gains and losses. Right? Very rare I get a maintain. Very, very rare. Right? I get a maintain. It's generally a loss or a gain. But if I look at the data I've got, so I've weighed every 2 weeks, and I've been pretty good with that. You know, I have although I've weighed, I might have nipped the scales out. Like my official check-in's Friday, I might have nipped the scales out on the Wednesday just to have a little look. I've probably done that, I'd say, another 10 times this year, but I've not looked. It just is what it is. And I've always been true. When I weigh on a Friday, sometimes it's a Saturday, or it's Thursday, depending on if I'm going away or something like that, and I've looked it. 25 times I've weighed, and I've had 20 losses weighing every couple of weeks because I've been consistent, right? And the only 4 gains I've had this year is post-holiday weigh-ins. That's it. Other than that, I've had 1 maintain, and I've had 4 gains, and the 4 gains are post-holiday weigh-ins. Other than that, when I've got my scales, I've seen a loss, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I've not been this year with post-holiday. Like as soon as I get back, I jump on the scales. I've not done that either. I've kind of stuck. So if I get back on the Friday and that's my check-in day, I'll leave it 2 weeks and I'll just miss a check-in. Or if I get back on the Friday and it's not my check-in day, I've just waited till the following. I've just got back to my journey and wait till the following Friday. I've still logged it as post-holiday, but it might be 5 or 6 days after getting back. So I've got to accept. But I've still seen gains. But sometimes it's been a couple of pounds. Sometimes I think Benidorm I weighed 12 days after getting back, and I was still 6.6 pounds heavier, right? And that's from the one in June. So, but data just is so important, What is weight loss plateau? Weight loss plateau is weight loss maintaining. You can call it plateauing, maintaining. It's just when the scales don't move. It's just when, you weigh yourself. Now, you only class it as if you get on the scales every week and weigh yourself, and you weigh 1 week, and you might have 3 losses in a row, and then number 4 you have a maintain, right? That's not a weight loss plateau or a weight loss maintenance phase or anything like that. That is just a fluctuation on the scales. Probably you can only call it a weight loss plateau or maintenance or stall, whatever you want to say, if it lasts for 4 weeks or more. And it doesn't mean that every time you get on the scales, your weight is exactly the same each time. Basically, let's say you weigh 200 pounds today, right? And you weigh yourself next Friday, right? I know it's Christmas, just forget the time of year. But let's say you start your weight loss journey today, right? And it's flipping March, so there's nothing going on. And you're 200 pounds, and you weigh next Friday and you're 199. You weigh the Friday after and you're 198. You weigh the Friday after that and you're back up to 200. You weigh the Friday after that and you're 201. Then you weigh the Friday after that and you're 200. Then you're 199. Then you're 198. Then you're 199. Then you're 200. Then you're 200. Over 12 weeks, you started off at 200 and you currently weigh 200. That's a weight loss plateau, right? Because over 12 weeks, yes, you might have had the odd week in a calorie deficit and you might have seen some body fat. You've obviously had the odd week in a calorie surplus to counterbalance that. And you might have had the odd weeks in a calorie maintenance where things just haven't changed. If it's a pound or two either way, could we just put that down to fluctuations? Of course, right? Like I say, you start off at 200 pounds, right? And next week you're 199. Could that just be a loss of water weight? Yeah. And then you're 198. Could that be another loss? Yeah. There's nothing to guarantee that that's body fat, right? Because then the week after you're 200, and that might be that water weight coming back on, or food weight, right? And then you're 201. That could just be bit of extra salt in your diet, causing a bit of extra water retention. You can't class weight loss as fat loss unless it's consistent. So if you weigh 200 pounds today and it's March, right, and you weigh every week for 12 weeks, and you are 200 today, and then you're 199, 198, 196, 197, 196, 195, 194, 196, 192, big loss, little mini whoosh, right? 190, right? And over 12 weeks, you've gone from 200 to 191. Obviously, some of those bumps in there are going to be fluctuations, but to go from 200 to 191 over 12 weeks, you could have lost fat. The majority of that loss is going to be fat, right? Because it's a consistent drop, right? And it's a decent drop. Does that make sense? Let's scan up, see if I'm missing anything. I really want to refocus in Jan 2026, though, not just wait for the easier time to arrive. Yeah, I like, it's one of them. I just think January is a tough month for me in terms of mental health. I am a bit of a Debbie Downer. I've just said that before. Like, I love Christmas. I'm such a Christmas person. I love Christmas lights. I love Christmas trees. I love the buzz around it. I love the fact that I know it sounds daft, but just going past the pub on a Wednesday night and there's a few people knocking about, because that's what it does. It brings people out. It makes people social. You know, different events going on. We went to like a village that basically the Yodel shop I use is in like a village near the gym, and we went there on Sunday morning to pick a parcel up, and there was like a band just stood there 11 o'clock with a little pot for charity, playing Christmas tunes, proper brass band. Absolutely loved it. I could have stood and watched them for half an hour or an hour. You know, absolutely brilliant. Right? I love stuff like that. January is just, it's just, you face the reality of, I've got no money. It's really cold. It's still really dark. All the joys of Christmas have gone. Bloody hell, Neil, you're depressing us here. I know I am. I'm so sorry. But that's kind of the way it is. And it is just like, you're just focusing on March, aren't you? That last Sunday of March, or where the clocks go forward, the weather, you know, in March, you can get some days where it's t-shirt weather. It's light till 7:30 at night. It's nicer for going out for walks. It is, you know, I'll go out for walks in any weather. It really doesn't bother me. But would I, if someone said to me, would you rather go out for a walk when it's 18 degrees and dry and this, that, and the other, or would you rather go out when it's, you know, -5 degrees and dry? 18 degrees, of course, you know. Though the cold really doesn't bother me. Like that bird out of, what is it, Frozen. It doesn't bother me anyway. But you know, it just is a nicer, you know, it just, you know, you get into that March. And the funny thing is about Christmas, or winter, for me, it is just 2 months. It is Jan, Feb. Like, I don't like October, actually. I find October very similar to or maybe mid-October to like mid-November. I find it very similar to January. Like, I'm not a Halloweeny sort of person. I don't find it gives a buzz to anything. And it's just a bit like, but then you get to like mid-November. I'm saying that this year, felt like a lot of people, I don't know, because the weather went from one extreme to another. We had a great summer, and then it just seemed to change to a really horrible, wet, damp, cold winter. Seems a lot of people went quite early with Christmas stuff this year. Like, from mid-November, there were lots of Christmas bits and pieces. And it buzzes me up. It does, you know. It's all about mood and mental health. Faye, good morning. Right, let me scan down and see if I've missed any. I don't think I have. I think I'm on it this morning. I tend to put weight on in Ramadan, but I'm going to try and focus on losing 2026. Easiest time, really. You say that with Ramadan, but obviously, I don't know when Ramadan is in 2026. I think it's you know, it's one of them. Fasting causes overeating, right? So we have a lot of people that do like intermittent fasting, and people might do it for a week or 2 weeks. But there is some science, you know, there is quite a lot of studies and data around there that over restriction leads to over consumption. And if you're doing Ramadan for, I think it was like March time last year, and it wasn't actually, you know, obviously the earlier on in the year it is, the better it is, because it's sunset to sundown where you can't eat or drink, which is obviously very, very tough. But if Ramadan was in like last year in March, you know, and it's sort of what sunrise might be 7:30, sunset might be 6, You get Ramadan in July. I don't actually know how it works, how it changes each year. I don't know if is it just like does it get earlier each? Does it just run like it's 4 weeks earlier each year? I don't actually know. So it was March last year. Will it be around February this year, and then January next year, and then December, and then obviously if it's in August, where you've literally got where sunrise is at 6 in the morning and sunset is 11 o'clock at night, or July, like I assume that's really, really tough. But over restriction leads to overconsumption, right? And yes, you might be like, I should lose weight if I'm fasting for 12 hours a day. But yeah, you've still got 12 hours, you're still probably going to, if I didn't eat from now until it went dark tonight, which is like, I know it's quite early now, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, like I could easily, like, I burn 3,500 calories a day, right? Would my calorie burn drop because my energy levels aren't probably going to be as good because my eating's all over the shop? Yeah. So that might affect things. But let's say I'd still burn, I could easily consume 2,500 calories at 4:30 tonight if I've not eaten all day, easily, right? And likewise, I could easily get up tomorrow morning at 7:30, or 7 o'clock before sunrise and eat another 1,000 calories. So although I might be going long periods without eating, fat loss, weight loss, consistent weight loss or fat loss is not about times you eat or how long you go without eating. It's about calories consumed over time. You can still and I think you probably more likely in Ramadan to overconsume calories. We went to Egypt in Ramadan last year and I felt really bad. I did, honestly, because I'm there all inclusive, absolutely. And to be fair, we were talking to Mustafa behind the bar, really, really good guy. He was a really nice guy. And I'm just one of them, mate. I just like asking loads of questions. And he was like, do you know what? We're just used to it. He said, don't feel bad for me. He said, it's what I do. I've done it for years. It's part of our thing. And he said, I've worked in hospitality in hotels all my life. So he said, it happens every year. It just is part and parcel of it. But they were making up every day. So we'd go to like the lobby bar at say 4 o'clock, maybe after the pool or something like that, and have a couple of drinks and natter to him. And they make this they were making this drink up, and it was honey, condensed milk. It had chopped up maybe dates. I can't remember what it was. It looked amazing. I meant to ask him I wanted to try it, but I was like, yeah. And I remember I didn't ask him what he was. He told me the official name for it. But he says it's so calorie dense. And he said, we have it when we work here because he said we get a little break as soon as the sun goes down. But we have that because it puts so much into our system for not a lot of volume until we can actually go and eat properly. And I was like, there you go. You consuming something extremely calorie dense very, very quickly, Shorty's day tomorrow, isn't it? Something to look forward to from Thursday. I think it's Sunday. Is it not Sunday? I might be totally wrong there. I always class the short. So the longest day is the 21st of June, which is the summer solstice. So I just assume the shortest day is the 21st of December because that's bang in the middle. But I might be told that's just my assumption. But you say potato, I say potato. We're literally 3 days away. So yeah, at some point in time, my Ring camera's going off like mad, and I'm feeling it could be the I'm listening for Betty barking. Why am I saying that? I feel like the window cleaner, and she goes absolutely rag, and she ends up wetting herself. Bless her. She scares her because I think she thinks something's attacking the house. Blossom's not bothered, but if it is Betty, I'm going to come off. I've been on nearly an hour. I'll probably come off and just take for a walk while he does the house. That's all. That's what I'm saying. That. Yeah, the 21st. Yeah, that was just my lunch. So, but yeah, John, basically, at some point this week, the nights start to go lighter, and it's about 10 minutes a week. I don't think you really notice it until mid-Feb. But like by the time you get to mid to end of Feb, it's like 6 o'clock in it before it goes dark. And then obviously another month, it's like nearly 7. And then the clocks go forward. And then it's like nearly 8 o'clock and it's amazing. Either way, we know they are basically. Yeah. Hi, how effective is calisthenics for body toning? All right. Body toning is just a buzzword. You don't tone the body, all right? And I think when a lot of people ask about toning, I used to get this all the time as a personal trainer. I'd get it very common with women. I'm not trying to stereotype, but it was a trend that I got with a lot of women, was these things. Yeah, your waggly bits, your bingo wings. And I get a lot of, how do I tone these? You can't, right? And I think that's what a lot of people think toning is. I think they think it's toning skin, basically. How do I tighten up skin, right? You can't, right? How you would make your body look more toned, as it were, would be, again, it's a bit of a buzzword. It's about losing body fat, of course, that's fat loss, weight loss, but building muscle, right? And calisthenics is is basically using your own body weight as the resistance, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic for building muscle, but it's flipping hard, really, really hard. All right. To use your own body weight as resistance, you basically got to be able to lift your own body weight in a way. So calisthenics is things like press ups, pull ups, right? Things like that. Now, there's certain things where your own body weight just isn't going to cut it. So, for example, like squats. Yes, you can do squats. Yes, you can do body weight squats, right? You just have to do a hell of a lot of them to get them to activate the muscles in your legs, right? Don't get me wrong, you can do Bulgarian split squats and stuff like that, which is still, you're just using your own. You don't need to add any other weight into Bulgarian split squats. You can do walking lunges, right? That's all calisthenics. Dips for your arms. There's lots of different exercises, but it's just really, really hard. Bet it's barking. That is 100% a window cleaner. Right, I'm going to shoot off in 5 minutes. Guys, everything weight loss session is planned in for 10:30. It should still be planned in for 10:30. I'll take the dogs out for a walk. We should still be back. But as always, if I'm a little bit late, let me just pause the live. Let me just have a look so I can see on my ring camera if it is on TikTok. And if it is, yeah, she's just absolutely scared to death for the window cleaner. She always has been. Let me have a look. And that is the window cleaner. Andy's parked on my drive, which means, should we go in absolute skis? I knew he'd be here this week. He only comes Wednesday. Right, guys, I'm going to go before Betty pees in the lounge or something like that. And then I can get, hang on. Guys, yeah, sorry, I forgot I was on pause on TikTok. Yeah, it's the window cleaner. I've got to go because Betty's going raj and I'll take her out before she, peas in the lounge or something like that. So, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and do a more. I'm not doing any evening lives really this week. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and do a morning live every week. Well, I am doing a morning live. I'll be on again tomorrow. Be a little bit earlier tomorrow. Be about 8 o'clock probably. I think I might put half out on the newsletter. I'm going to do like 8 till 9 tomorrow. And then Thursday should be normal time, 8:30. Friday will just be, I don't know, whenever I'm on. It might be 10 o'clock if we go to the gym. We might go to the gym a bit later. It might be 8:30. You'll just have to bear with me. And then Friday, that's me. I'm out. All right. I might nip on next week to come and say hello, but it won't be anything scheduled. There's no more scheduled lives after Friday. All right. Like I say, I might nip on next week to come and say hello, depending on what's going on. I'm kind of checking out from Friday. Anyway, Lynn, good morning. I've just seen you coming in. Right, guys, have a wonderful Tuesday, whatever you're doing. Have a great day. And if you're on Planner in the community, I'll be back at 10:30. We don't need to talk about weight loss in the Everything Weight Loss session. We can just have a natter if you want. I know a lot of people aren't too interested at the moment, but we'll see how they go. We'll see how they go. I'll probably just ask you about your plans for Christmas if you decide to come and have a chat. But we'll just have a little Zoom at 10:30 just for a little natter for half an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. If you want to talk a bit longer, we'll talk a bit longer. That's all good. And that's it. If you just follow me on socials, I'll be back tomorrow morning about 8 a.m. TikTok, I'll sign off to you first. Have a great day. And Facebook, YouTube, I'll sign off to you second. Have a wonderful day. And if you're free, I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. If you're on planning with the community, I might see you in about an hour.